Hi guys, this is Mr. Hayes. I'm not in class today, so I put together this quick screencast to give you some instructions on what you should be working on today. Now, we haven't talked about this yet, and that's partly my fault, but if you look over here at the lessons site, you can see for this week, it refers to the inquiring and analyzing stage, and there's a link to the handout here. And notice over here it says complete the inquiring and analyzing as it is due October 2nd. That's this Friday at 3 p.m. Now don't panic, calm down. There's not that much work to do, and I may have to consider an extension for you guys since I'm not there for Thursday's class and we don't have class on Friday. So this has all been explained to the other class but not yet to you guys, and that's why I'm creating this video. So let's talk about what you have to do for your inquiring and analyzing. Now, up until now, we've been working on labs to learn about Jeroo tool and Jeroo programming. And we've talked about built-in actions, custom actions, repetitions, and making decisions. Excuse me. Okay, let's take a look at the inquiring and analyzing portion of the handout. So you can see here it says, over the last few lessons you have been doing research into the Jeroo tool and into Jeroo programming. You have learned about Jeroo with its actions, repetitions, and decisions. So what we're trying to do here is you're going to demonstrate your understanding of these three things by 1, completing the labs, and 2, creating a table down below. Also, you have to do a little bit of research to find out what features are needed to keep your code concise and to solve the problem. Now, the problem that you're going to be working on for the remainder of the semester is you're going to create 2 island files. Basically, you're going to design a game which you will then write 1 Jeroo program to solve. So you'll solve your 2 island files with your own program. Then you will give your island files to someone else, and they will give their island files to you, and you will solve each other's program. Or you'll write the code to solve both of their island files. Okay, so now in the inquiring and analyzing stage, we're going to do 4 things. Now, there's not a lot of work here, so don't get too excited. Now, the first step is need for a solution. You're basically going to say who your island files are for, like for example, who's the intended target audience for your game, and why you are doing it, like why you chose, I said like, I owe you $20. You want to explain why you chose to create the kind of game you're going to create. That's what you're doing now. You're not creating the 2 island files now. You're not solving the 2 island files. You'll do that later in the create stage. For now, you just have to address these 2 questions, maybe a paragraph or so on each question. Okay, the next stage is this research plan. So you're going to take this table and copy it into your DF document and then answer these 4 sections. Okay, you have to talk about what areas you need to investigate, why those areas are important, whether you're going to use primary sources or secondary sources, and what's the priority, what's the most important thing you have to consider of the questions. Now, you might need more rows in this table than just 4. So what are the areas you need to investigate? Well, what makes a game fun? How can you make your game appealing to someone? You'll need to investigate you already know something about while loops and if statements and how to make decisions and do things repetitively. So you have to consider those things too and explain why those are important. What's the advantage of having while loops? What's the advantage of having if statements? Over here for your sources, primary sources refers to things that you've generated. Secondary sources refers to other material that someone else has generated. And then you have to prioritize this. What's the most important thing you have to research? Okay, the next step is existing products. Now here you have to look at 3 games to get some ideas for your game. Now, the games you look at don't necessarily have to be other Jeroo games. They could be anything. And while you're playing these games, you should consider these following issues. Okay, now when you look at these games, you have to record what's good about the game, what's not so good about the game, what's interesting about the game, and who created it, and where's a link to it. You can include an image from the game, but as you can see, you have to make it kind of small. This is called the PMI table, a plus minus interesting table. So you're going to do some product analysis of the 3 games in using this PMI table. Now again, add rows as needed. You can make a copy of this table and put it in your design folder document. And the last thing is the design brief. Well, there's one more step after this. Step 4 is the design brief, and here you create a summary of your research. What did you learn from analyzing those 3 products? What features will your game incorporate? This is just an example of a design brief statement. Don't just copy this. You should, I'm going to add a space there. You should get an idea of what you have to say about your game. Okay, and down here the last thing is the bibliography. Since you're doing some research, you have to use sources, and you have to include those sources in a bibliography, and then you have to cite your sources in your text. Now, you should have seen a bit of this last year in year 7. There's a guide here that explains how to get your Noodle Tools account set up if you don't already have one. And let's see, what else do we have down here? Oh, very important, the rubric is here. So read through the rubric as well. Now, let's go back to Moodle. As I said in the forum of the day, I've added some bibliography stuff down here. And here you can see, what does MLA look like? This is what your bibliography should look like. And you're going to place this in the bibliography section of your design folder document. Now, how do you create this? Well, you can use NoodleBib. NoodleBib is a tool at Noodle Tools to help you create and format your bibliography so it looks like this. Then from NoodleBib, you can export your list of sources to a Google Doc and then paste it into your design folder document. So if we go back to the handouts, this explains how to use NoodleBib. Here is the MLA guide for years 7 to 9. That shows you how to cite different kinds of sources. If I click on that, and then click on this button over here, you can see the bookmarks for this PDF document. Now, if you're not seeing bookmarks like this, you're probably using the default PDF viewer that comes with Chrome, which is not very good. So I'm going to close this, come over here to the settings for Chrome, click on Settings. Over here on the left, click on Extensions, and you can see this is the default PDF viewer for Chrome, and I've disabled it. And then I replaced it with this PDF viewer here. It's called PDF.js. You can see over here on the right, it's enabled. Now, if you don't have this, you can get it from down here, Get More Extensions. Now, this looks a little different because I'm using Chromium. I'm not using Chrome. Chromium is the open source version of Chrome. Chrome is built on top of Chromium. We can talk more about that next time I'm in class. Yeah, by the way, I'm using Linux. I'm not using OS 10 here. That's why it looks a little different. Okay, so you have bibliography stuff down here. You have over here on you have your handout, which is here, and you have this is the link to the handout. This is when the stuff is due. So you're trying to do the acquiring and analyzing by Friday at 3. Don't panic. I'll talk to you on Friday about whether you get more time. And then you're trying to finish the exercises or the labs by Monday at 3. Okay. Post a message on the forum during class if you have issues or problems, and I'll try to answer it from my meeting. Okay, that's it for now. I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to come over here and click stop, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.